In an online game, there are many legendary players. Amongst those players, there's the unbeatable team that has never lost, known as the Blank. They're so good that rumors spread about them being cheaters. In real life, the Blank turns out to be a hikikomori brother and sister, Sora and Shiro, who have nothing else to live for than this online game. As they play, the siblings receive an anonymous message, challenging them to a chess game. After the duo defeat their anonymous sender in a tough match, the screens jam. Two hands come out and pull them into a virtual world called Disport, where they find themselves skydiving along with its god Tet, who explains to them the 10 rules governing this world. In Disport, wars, murder, and robbery are illegal. Conflicts are solved through games. Bets in this world are sacred. Each player must stand by what he wanted to bet. Before the two hit the ground, Tet cushions their fall and wishes them luck in this world. Surprisingly enough, Sora wins a bet against 3 players and takes all of their possessions, leaving them with nothing but their underpants. Afterwards, the two stop by a tavern, where Sora outsmarts a lady in a poker game and wins a small bag of money. Unbeknown to the lady, Sora cheated in the game. In this world, if a player is caught cheating in a game, they lose the game instantly. However, Sora wasn't caught, so everything is fine so far. Then the two book a room where they can stay. On the way to the room, Sora spots a girl named Clammy, cheating in her game against a girl named Stephanie. That is, the granddaughter of the deceased king. Whoever wins this game will be the new king. Sora tips Stephanie off about the cheating. Even though she was warned, Stephanie turns out to have lost the game, as she takes it out on the siblings for not revealing how exactly her opponent was cheating. Any conflict in this world is solved through a game. To shut Stephanie the hell up, Sora challenges her to a rock, paper, scissors game. If Stephanie loses, she'll obey whatever Sora tells her to do. Sora will do the same to Stephanie if he loses. Sora cons her into playing scissors and wins the game, thus winning her. Now that Stephanie is his, Sora orders her to fall in love with him and to give him and his sister a place to stay in the palace in the kingdom of Haikyuu. Seeing his sister's menacing look, Sora apologizes, telling her that he has his needs. Now that this is her first order, it doesn't sit well with Stephanie, who bangs her head against the wall. The two move into the palace where they learn more about Haikyuu. From Stephanie, they learn more about this world. First thing they learn is that their books are not written in Japanese, but in Amanity. They also learn about the 16 other races living in this kingdom. It turns out, Stephanie's grandfather wanted to show this kingdom the importance of the human race, for which he was considered a foolish king. Now, Stephanie has only one wish: prove her grandfather right about humanity. Soon after, Stephanie runs into Clammy, to whom she lost the throne in a poker game. Clammy gloats about how she won the game and then goes to her throne, leaving behind a devastated Stephanie. Sora helps her perk back up and decides to help her prove her grandfather right about the power of humanity. More so, Sora has a new goal: become the new king. With that goal in mind, Sora decides to gatecrash the coronation ceremony. There, Sora disagrees aloud about Clammy being the new king, as he accuses her of cheating in the poker game that won her throne, using the help of an elf girl casting magic spells with her eyes. Clammy decides to settle this conflict through a game other than poker, where there's no room for cheating. Prior to the game, Clammy meets them and reveals her plans of allowing elves to rule over humans, since the human race is the weakest of the 16, which Sora laughs off. Then Clammy takes them to a church where the game will be, which turns out to be a chess game. However, the pieces have wills of their own, meaning they won't move to a place where they know they'll get killed. The siblings will be playing this together against Clammy. During the game, Sora observes the morale of the pieces is low. Thanks to his charisma, Sora boosts their confidence by promising them that they can bang any woman they like if they win. Furious, Sora's pieces start moving on their own and killing Clammy's, neglecting the rules of the chess game. Clammy cheats and enchants her king and has it brainwash all of her other pieces. Her other brainwashed pieces brainwash Sora's, turning his pieces against him. Sora's king is cornered. Before Clammy's queen can execute him, Sora jumps in his place and talks her down, persuading her to join him and abandon her corrupt king, who brainwashes his soldiers for his own needs. This strikes a chord with the queen, as she drops her sword and joins Sora, prompting other pieces to follow her and turn on Clammy. Clammy orders her remaining pieces to keep fighting. As they march, they are shattered, including the king, leading to her inevitable defeat. Devastated, Clammy falls to her knees, while the siblings are declared winners. Sora and Shiro are then crowned as the king and queen of Haikyuu. Afterwards, the siblings and Stephanie start solving Haikyuu's domestic issues. In the coronation ceremony, Sora delivers a speech about how humans were dismissed as the weakest race of the 16. But now they have the opportunity to prove this wrong, as he declares war on every other country in this world. Following the ceremony, Tet pays the siblings a visit and congratulates them on becoming rulers. Seeing how the siblings are slacking and neglecting their jobs, Stephanie challenges them to a blackjack card game where if she wins, Sora acts like a decent king and fulfills his duties. However, she loses. Therefore, the siblings have her dress as a dog and act as one before the public. Stephanie challenges the two to more games, but the siblings are way too smart for her. Contrary to what she thought, Stephanie then learns that the two weren't slacking. They were reading every book in the palace, searching for ways to conquer the other nations in this world. In response, Stephanie recommends Haikyuu's National Library. There, they meet the owner, Jibril, who belongs to the Flugel race. whom they challenge to a game for the ownership of the library, which she accepts as Sora bets his tablet that has a digital library in it. That game turns out to be Materialization Shiratori, a Japanese word game. In this game, both players will attack each other using words. If they name something that's there, it disappears. If they name something that's not there, it appears. If a player fails to reply within 30 seconds, they lose the game. The game begins. Sora names a hydrogen bomb. Accordingly, a hydrogen bomb materializes, which Gibril seals with a spell. Sora then names Gibril's spirit circles that she needs to fly as a flugel, thus decapitating her. Sora and Shiro respond with the term lithosphere, removing the surface of the planet, thus causing Gibril to be closest to the hottest part of the Earth. Gibril responds with a spell that cools down the heat. The siblings remove the oxygen, making it harder for Gibril to breathe. Gibril uses the term air so she can breathe. However, Gibril is not aware of the atomic theory, as her body cannot absorb the oxygen if it's under low pressure. The siblings remove the real atmosphere from the planet, causing the air inside Gibril's body to expand, thus disabling her from speaking. Since she failed to reply in 30 seconds, Gibril loses the game and admits defeat. The library becomes Sora's. Of course, Sora allows her to keep using the library anytime she wants. Thankful, Gibril calls Sora her new master as she pledges her loyalty to him. As he looks more into the other nations, Sora decides to conquer the eastern countries. Gibril reveals these countries are inhabited by a race called Warbeast. That is, animal humans so unbeatable in games and unrivaled by races that are smarter than humans. After Sora learns Stephanie's grandfather lost 8 times to those Warbeasts, Stephanie gives him a key to her grandfather's secret room where they find his journal. Even though Stephanie's grandfather lost 8 times, he managed to find the Warbeast's secrets and weaknesses. Armed with this information, Sora heads to the Warbeast's embassy in Elkia. There, he meets the Warbeast ambassadress, Izuna, and threatens to reveal the Warbeast's secrets to all the other races. By doing that, he forces them to accept a game, wherein if they lose, Sora will take over their territory and rule over their race. What's more, Sora bets the whole territory of the human race. The next day, Shiro wakes up to find her brother's existence has been wiped out from her memories. She goes to Sora's room to find it empty, believing that Shiro's memory has been manipulated. Gibril has her play chest to clear her head. More so, Shiro notices Sora's existence is also wiped out from Stephanie's and Gibril's memories as well. Shiro thinks harder and faints. It turns out Sora is playing a game against Clammy, aiming to steal each other's existence. In this game, each piece constitutes an aspect of one's existence. Sora and Clammy lost most of their pieces, Othello stones, and are almost erased from existence, which explains their disappearance. Shiro awakes and has Gibril use her power to detect if there's any magic in the room. It turns out there is magic being used in this room as they're speaking. Stephanie trips over 3 white Othello stones, which Shiro deduces to be her memories of her brother. Shiro places them on an invisible board, helping her brother win the game. Sora appears and reunites with his sister. After Clammy and her elf appear, Sora makes his demands being the victor of the game, making Clammy and her elf his followers. In preparation for his game to dominate over the eastern countries, Sora has Clammy and the elf girl do some spying for him. Sora heads for Izuna's house, the ambassadress he'll be playing against. He'll be playing a virtual reality game with her before the public, humans and warbeasts. This way, Sora will guarantee no one can cheat in the game. The game begins. Sora, Stephanie, Gibril, and Shiro are transferred to a virtual Tokyo. Sora and Shiro start panicking, being the recluses who never walk out of their room. After the siblings get their act together, the rules of the game are explained. The siblings are handed the love guns with heart-shaped bullets to shoot at NPCs chasing them. Once the NPCs are shot, the bullet will explode, making the NPC fall in love with the player who shot them. Technically, it's love or be loved. All the girls in this world will fall in love with the player, so the objective of this game is to make the one girl who doesn't love the player fall in love with him. Sora starts shooting NPC girls, making them fall for him. A whole crowd of NPCs attack Izuna, but she miraculously shoots them all. Later on, Izuna hides in a building and senses Shiro ascending the stairs thanks to her sixth sense. A shootout starts between the two. Shiro gets the upper hand, giving Izuna no choice but to jump from the building, where she encounters Gibril. Izuna throws a big bomb for distraction, allowing her to shoot Gibril afterwards. The two afterwards land and are still alive. After a few hours, Sora and Shiro hide in the park as Shiro calculates their next moves. Out of nowhere, Izuna attacks and shoots at Sora, but Shiro jumps in and takes the shot instead. In this game, if you shoot your opponent, you make them your follower. Shiro became Izuna's as she points her gun at her brother and starts shooting at him. Sora flees with Gibril to a bridge. Gibril decides to go and face Izuna. The two meet on a roof and start exchanging shots. Meanwhile, Sora tries hard not to get caught by Shiro's shots. Sora flees to the roof and is confronted by his sister. Since he loves his sister, Sora just charges at her without dodging her shots. The two fall from the building. As they fall, Sora hugs her and shoots some love into her. Then Izuna catches up and tries to shoot, but she's distracted by a bomb and disarmed afterwards. Gibril attacks her from behind, which is more like a checkmate since there's no way on Earth Izuna can dodge this shot. contrary to Sora's expectation, Izuna dodges the bullet using the ability of blood destruction, one of the rare abilities a warbeast can have. That ability allows Izuna to surpass her physical limits, allowing her to dodge the bullets impossible to dodge, overwhelming to the siblings who cannot predict her moves. Eventually, Izuna manages to shoot both siblings in the head simultaneously. The two fall flat on the ground. Izuna rejoices thinking she's won. However, she is shot from behind by Gibril using the help of an NPC. It turns out a warbeast's sixth sense cannot sense NPCs approaching. Thus, Sora is announced the victor, much to the human audience's rapture. Thus, Sora succeeded in conquering an entire continent. Izuna is sad about what'll happen to warbeasts, but Sora commiserates her and assures he harbors no ill will towards her race. The warbeast race is under Sora's rule now. This doesn't sit well with the warbeast leader, Miko, who challenges him to a game. According to the rules of this world, the challenged party decides what the game will be. Tired of playing games, Sora decides to settle this with a simple coin flip, which is quite laughable to Miko. If Miko wins, the warbeast will have the right to self-rule. If Sora wins, he'll rule. This coin flip is no ordinary one, as Sora allows Miko to pick head or tails as the coin is in midair. Sora tosses the coin. Thanks to her sharp senses as a warbeast, Miko slows down the time and calculates on which face the coin will land. So, tails is her pick. The coin lands. Everybody is watching in a breathtaking moment. The coin doesn't land on either face, as it's stuck between the tiles. It's a draw. It turns out Sora knew how Miko would think, so he moved the tile a bit when the coin landed. Sora decides that they both won and that they both can have what they want. In other words, the warbeast's continent is under Sora's control, but their rights to self-rule are assured. Quite satisfactory to both sides. In the aftermath, Sora is asked if he's going to start another war, which he denies since starting wars is against the rules of this world, and states his ultimate goal of beating Tet, the god of this world, in a game. To Sora, it's a game and nothing more. Games are played just for the fun of it, as the 10th rule states. Elsewhere, Tet watches Sora and affirms that he'll be happily waiting to play when the time comes.